The Joe Rogan Experience.
There's a really good book called Taming Your Gremlins if anyone wants to look into that idea more. That guy does a really good job of doing that. So anyways, I started going through like my hero's journey, and I spend a lot of time like meditating, a decent amount, but not just like normal meditating, like fucking around in my own head type of meditating, and just seeing what type of unconscious things are kind of below the surface of my everyday like Cory me. And so I'm walking myself through like, okay, what is this? What are all of these things inside me, or what are these desires that are inside me? I would name them, I would turn them into a monster, and I would kill the monster. And then at the very end of this story, and I'm like crying during this process when I was doing it or whatever. In the hero's journey, a lot of the time you have a mentor, like a Yoda. You have this thing that kind of guides you through how to defeat all these monsters and all of it. So I get to the end of my story, and one part that they never really bring up in heroic stories is the return back home, which is a really big deal. Like, you've just eliminated all of this stuff, and now you got to return back home. So I'm getting ready to return back home, and my mentor at the time, because I did grow up really religious, it was Jesus at the time, where like Jesus was my homie at the time, you know, he was like this guy. And so we get done defeating all of these monsters, and we're sitting at the cliff, and it's like, okay, time to go home. And he's like, hey man, like, you got one more monster to defeat. And I was like, well, what is it? And he was like, me. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, man, like, I'm the last thing that you're attached to. Like, in order for you to continue on, I'm the thing that you got to defeat. And I was like, well, what does that mean, dude? Like, I'm not about to stab you, bro, you know? And he was like, you have to push me. And I was like, push you off the cliff? He was like, you have to let go of me the same way that you let go of all of your other desires and fears and things inside of you too, if you really want to do it. And so I'm like bawling, crying, because that was a big thing. So I do it and Jesus falls, but then he grows wings, flies away, and says to me, now you can be like me. And then just flies off into the whatever. And then I return back home, and I just remember that being a really big moment for me in my, I don't like to use the word spiritual because it sounds stupid. But that was like a big deal for me in my development as a person, because it really like made me understand. And they weren't things that I was planning out. They were just unconscious things that were hitting me like over and over and over again. I found that through hypnosis and through like trying to see what's underneath things. You can't talk to it. You can't tell it what to do. You can't control your unconscious. You just have to watch what's underneath there. So it was just like a thing where it's like, now I get to be like you, was like a really cool thing that just like popped into my head. And I was like, whoa, shit, that's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, I do a lot of crazy shit inside of my own head, I guess. Probably makes me sound maybe a little bit weird, but that's kind of...
Weird's good.
That's me, yeah.
Weird is good.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like returning to fighting after this, like trying to find yourself period?
Yeah, I remember I was folding laundry, and they asked me to fight this guy, Tehino Galval, on 4 weeks' notice for LFA. And Tehino Galval is a fucking savage at the time. Still I think is doing pretty well, but literally every YouTube video I could find of him was just knocking people out. He was like 6-0 or something and just murdering people, Brazilian guy. And I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. Like, I just lost. I don't really want to lose again. And I remember going back and forth with myself big time. And as I was folding laundry, I kind of got hit with another bit of wisdom that came from wherever, not from myself, came from wherever. And in this bit of wisdom, it told me, man, I gave you this life for you to make it up yourself. Quit asking me to make decisions for you. And so I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll do it. You know, I'll do it. And a big piece of me going through that whole thing, and what I learned a lot about it, was love of fighting isn't really, love of anything I don't think is like Disney shit. It's like a mega commitment to something that you want to achieve, and it works like a marriage. More like a marriage, less than like a romantic, like, hey, this is a fling. Like, it's like, hey man, I might not like you every day, you know, but I'm going to commit myself to you, and I'm going to do this thing. And it helped me really wrap my head around what kind of true love is, because I feel like that's what true love is. And if you want to love this sport and you want to say you love this sport, you got to love it on the months, days, it might last years that you really don't like it. And just trust that on the other end of it is like a good experience.
There's a payoff.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Mhm.
Yeah. So how was the fight?
It was good. I knocked him out in the first round. Fucking crushed it. Wasn't scared at all going in.
Really?
Oh yeah, I don't get scared much like when I'm actually fighting in that mode of like fight or flight, but I've already chosen fight. Like I'm good, you know. I don't really get too scared going into fights hardly ever. I get scared leading up to things, but in the actual fight itself, like I'm the goddamn Incredible Hulk.